A universal shift often begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, like the gentle rustle of leaves before a storm or the subtle change in light before dawn. You may not notice it at first. It doesn't come with a grand announcement or flashing lights. It might start as a faint stirring in your heart, an unexplainable unease, or a sudden yearning for something more. This is the quiet whisper of transformation, and though it may seem small, it carries within it the power to awaken your spirit and alter the way you see the world forever. Such shifts are not random, they are part of a divine orchestration, moments designed to shake you out of complacency, to remind you that life is more than just the routines and patterns you've settled into. The nature of a universal shift is that it bypasses the noise of the mind and speaks directly to the soul. It may arrive during a season of deep struggle when you feel lost, weary, or stuck, or it may surprise you during a moment of peace when everything seems fine on the surface. That's the mystery of it. It comes when it's time, not when you're ready. And when it arrives, it carries an undeniable force, urging you to look deeper, think differently, and live with greater purpose. The quiet beginning of such a shift is intentional, because true change often needs to root itself within before it blooms outward. If it came loudly, you might resist it or dismiss it as chaos. But when it comes softly, it invites you to lean in, to listen, to question, and to feel. Awakening is never just an intellectual process. It's an emotional and spiritual reorientation. You might start noticing that things you once tolerated now feel heavy and burdensome. Conversations that once felt normal now feel shallow. People who drain your energy start to stand out, while those who inspire you feel like beacons in the fog. You begin to sense that your soul is craving a different environment, different relationships, and a deeper connection to meaning. This is the shift working within you, pulling you toward alignment with your higher purpose. And while it can feel unsettling, it's a sign that you are evolving beyond who you were into who you are meant to be. A universal shift does not just change how you feel, it changes how you see. Your perspective widens, your understanding deepens, and you start recognizing patterns you were once blind to. You might see the truth behind certain events that once confused you, realizing that what you thought was rejection was actually redirection. You might come to understand that certain losses were necessary to make space for what's coming. The shift reshapes your perception, making you aware that life isn't random, that every challenge and blessing is part of a greater design. And once your eyes are opened in this way, they cannot be closed again. But awakening comes with a cost, the cost of comfort. Once you see truth, you can't return to ignorance. Once your soul begins to stir, you can't force it back into stillness. The familiar may feel safer, but it will also feel emptier. This is why so many people resist the shift. They sense its call but fear the uncertainty it brings. Yet the truth is, the greater danger lies in staying asleep, in continuing to move through life without fully living it. To stay asleep is to miss the very experiences that would bring your soul to life. The power of a universal shift lies in its ability to connect you to a deeper sense of reality. It reminds you that you are not just a body moving through time, but a soul on a journey. It opens your heart to the interconnectedness of all things, helping you see that your thoughts, actions, and energy affect the world around you. It teaches you that you are both a participant in and a witness to life's unfolding story. And perhaps most importantly, it humbles you. It reminds you that there are forces at work beyond your control, yet within your alignment. When you embrace a universal shift, you allow yourself to become a student of the unknown. You stop needing to have all the answers and instead trust that the right steps will be revealed at the right time. You begin to live with greater awareness, noticing the signs, synchronicities, and divine nudges that guide your path. You start making choices from a place of alignment rather than fear. This is where the real transformation happens, not just in your circumstances, but in your very way of being. The shift will also test you. It will ask you to release what no longer serves you, even if you're attached to it. It will challenge your old beliefs, even if they've been part of your identity for years. It will bring you face to face with your own shadows, not to shame you, but to help you heal. These moments are not punishments, they are invitations. Every challenge you face during a shift is an opportunity to shed an old layer and step more fully into your authentic self. At times, the shift can feel like chaos. You might question everything, your career, your relationships, your habits, your goals. But beneath the chaos is a profound order, one that is realigning your life to match your soul's highest path. Think of it like an earthquake. It shakes the ground beneath you, but it also clears away what is unstable so that something stronger can be built. This is why it's so important to stay awake during the shift, to remain aware and present even when things feel uncertain. If you fall back into unconscious patterns, you risk missing the very transformation you were meant to receive. Staying awake during a shift requires courage, but it also requires gentleness with yourself. You don't need to have everything figured out. You simply need to keep showing up with an open heart, willing to learn and willing to grow. You need to create space in your life for stillness, reflection, and deep listening. You need to be intentional about the voices you allow to influence you. Because during a shift, your spirit is more sensitive to energy, and what you consume, hear, and believe matters more than ever. And perhaps most importantly, you need to trust the timing of it all. A shift is not something you can rush. Just as a seed cannot be forced to bloom before it's ready, your transformation will unfold when the conditions are right. Your job is not to control the process, but to nurture it, to water your spirit with truth, surround yourself with light, and remove the weeds of negativity and fear. When you do this, the shift will naturally carry you to the next stage of your journey. The beauty of a universal shift is that it leaves you forever changed. You emerge with a new awareness, a deeper compassion, and a stronger sense of purpose. You see the world with clearer eyes and a softer heart. You begin to move through life not as a victim of circumstances, but as a co-creator of your reality. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and start living with intention, presence, and gratitude. And while the journey is not always easy, it is always worth it. Because once your soul has been awakened, nothing in the world can take away that light. Even in the darkest seasons, you will carry within you the memory of the shift. That moment when the universe spoke to you, when your spirit stirred, and when your perspective was forever altered. That memory will guide you, sustain you, and remind you that no matter how quiet it begins, a true shift is powerful enough to shake your soul and awaken you to the fullness of life. Staying awake means developing spiritual discernment and emotional awareness to recognize the signs and opportunities hidden within change. Life has a way of moving in cycles, and sometimes a deep, universal shift begins to stir beneath the surface long before it manifests in the visible world. This shift is rarely loud at first. It does not announce itself with fanfare or flashing lights. Instead, it whispers through subtle signs, an unexpected conversation, a sudden internal nudge, a restlessness that makes you question the routines you've been clinging to for years. Most people overlook these signs because they are too distracted, too busy, or too afraid to confront the unknown. Staying awake means refusing to fall into the trap of unconscious living. It is choosing to sharpen your senses so you can notice the quiet hand of divine timing guiding your steps. Spiritual discernment is not about superstition or over-analyzing every detail. It is about tuning your heart and mind to the deeper frequencies of truth that often get lost in the noise of daily life. When you stay awake, you are not just seeing events for what they are on the surface. You are perceiving the deeper meaning, the unseen threads connecting them, and the higher purpose they may be serving. You begin to realize that change is not random. It is orchestrated in ways that call you into growth, into alignment, and into a more authentic version of yourself. Without discernment, you risk misreading the moment. You might run from the very shift meant to elevate you or cling to something that was never meant to last. Emotional awareness is equally important because universal shifts do not happen without stirring your inner world. Change disrupts comfort, and with disruption often comes fear, uncertainty, or even grief for the things you must let go of. If you are not aware of what is happening inside you, these emotions can hijack your clarity, and lead you to react in ways that sabotage your progress. Staying awake means pausing long enough to ask, what am I really feeling right now? What is this trying to teach me? It means being honest with yourself about your resistance and learning how to release the need for total control. Emotional awareness allows you to ride the waves of change instead of being pulled under by them. The truth is, opportunities are rarely dressed in perfection. They often show up in the middle of mess, uncertainty, and discomfort. They may even look like loss before they reveal themselves as blessings. But when you are awake, you are able to recognize the potential hidden inside the disruption. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? That shift in perspective is what allows you to seize opportunities others miss. It is what separates those who rise with change from those who are crushed by it. Staying awake requires intentional habits. It's not enough to tell yourself you'll be more aware. You must train your mind to notice and your spirit to listen. This means slowing down in a world that constantly demands speed. It means cultivating moments of stillness where you can tune out distractions and tune in to what truly matters. Meditation, prayer, journaling, or simply walking in silence can become powerful tools to heighten your awareness. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to notice when something in your life is shifting, even before you can explain it. But awareness is not just about noticing, it's about responding with wisdom. When you sense a universal shift unfolding, you will face choices that test your faith, your patience, and your courage. Some choices will require you to step forward into the unknown before you feel ready. Others will require you to wait, to trust that not moving yet is part of the plan. This is where discernment and emotional awareness work together. Discernment helps you sense the right timing, while emotional awareness helps you navigate the inner storms that can make waiting or leaping feel impossible. To stay awake in the middle of a shift also means protecting your environment. When your spirit is in a heightened state of awareness, you must guard your energy from unnecessary noise and negativity. Not everyone will understand what you are sensing. Some will dismiss it, and others will project their own fear onto your path. If you are not careful, their voices can drown out your inner knowing. Staying awake means having the strength to step back from anything or anyone that clouds your vision. It is not about cutting people off in bitterness. It is about preserving your clarity so you can move in alignment with the truth you've been shown. Sometimes staying awake will feel lonely because awareness is a rare choice. Many prefer the comfort of autopilot, even if it keeps them stuck. But those who stay awake learn to appreciate the solitude because it is in these quiet spaces that revelation comes. You begin to see patterns in your life, lessons repeating until you finally learn them, doors closing so new ones can open, and divine redirections steering you towards something greater. This awareness gives you peace even in chaos, because you understand that the shift is not here to destroy you. It is here to prepare you. Universal shifts often carry both endings and beginnings in the same breath. They require you to release what no longer serves you so you can make room for what is coming. Staying awake means having the courage to let go when your spirit knows it's time, even if your mind wants to cling. It means trusting that the emptiness you feel after a release is not a void, but fertile ground for new growth. When you have discernment and emotional awareness, you can see that the dismantling of the old is simply the first step in building the new. The beauty of staying awake is that it transforms your entire way of living. You no longer drift through life hoping things will work out. You actively participate in your transformation. You become a co-creator with the shifts happening around you, working with them instead of against them. You stop fighting change out of fear and start embracing it as an ally. Your faith grows, your perspective expands, and your life begins to align with a greater flow that you can trust, even when you cannot see the full picture. When you stay awake, you begin to recognize that every change, every disruption, every quiet nudge was never random. They were all invitations to rise into a deeper, truer version of yourself. And while the world around you may still sleep through its shifts, you will be wide awake, ready to move when the moment calls, and prepared to step into the opportunities that were always meant for you. True transformation during a universal shift requires courage to release the old and align yourself with the higher calling of your life. It means standing at the edge of what you have always known and being willing to step into the unknown with faith, even when the ground beneath your feet feels uncertain. A universal shift doesn't come to simply rearrange the furniture of your life. It comes to reconstruct the very foundation you stand on. And the truth is, you cannot carry everything from your old world into the new one. The weight of yesterday's fears, the baggage of past mistakes, and the chains of limiting beliefs will only slow you down as you step into a higher dimension of purpose. You must be willing to put some things down, to close chapters with grace, and to accept that some relationships, environments, and versions of yourself are not meant to survive the elevation that is calling you. Courage here is not about pretending you're not afraid. It's about moving forward in spite of the fear. It's about trusting that the discomfort you feel is a sign you are stretching into new levels of growth. The old version of you was built for a different season, and if you cling to it, you'll miss the opportunities being laid before you. You might even find yourself sabotaging your blessings because they don't fit the identity you refuse to release. But when you are brave enough to let go, you create space for what is truly meant for you to arrive. It is in that space between what you release and what you receive that transformation becomes possible. This courage is deeply connected to faith. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you are called to be. It allows you to take the step without seeing the entire path. During a universal shift, you will rarely have the full picture in front of you. The pieces are revealed step by step, and often you will only understand the purpose of certain changes once you have walked through them. The temptation will be to try to control the process, to cling to certainty, to hold on to the safety of the familiar. But the familiar is often the greatest enemy of your destiny because it convinces you to stay comfortable rather than grow. The higher calling on your life will never be fulfilled in comfort. It is fulfilled in movement, in obedience, in willingness to evolve. Releasing the old also means releasing the stories you've told yourself about who you are. Many people are held back not by what others think of them, but by the narrative they have repeated in their own minds for years. You might be holding on to an identity shaped by your pain, your failures, or even your past successes. But what served you once may be the very thing keeping you from your next breakthrough. Letting go is not betrayal, it's evolution. It's acknowledging that your life is a continuous unfolding and that you are allowed to outgrow things, people, and even versions of yourself that once felt essential. In a universal shift, the energy around you changes. The things that once excited you may now feel heavy. Conversations that once filled you might now drain you. Your intuition may nudge you to distance yourself from certain patterns, even if they are deeply familiar. This is the soul's way of making room for alignment. And alignment is key because the higher calling on your life is not random. It is specific. It is tied to your unique gifts, your divine assignment, and the contribution you are meant to make in this world. You are not here by accident. Every challenge you've faced, every skill you've developed, every heartbreak you've endured has been preparing you for the work you are called to do. But the calling will require a different you. It will require a version of yourself that you have not yet fully met. That's why courage is so vital. You are stepping toward a life you have never lived before, and that means you must become someone you have never been before. This can feel like shedding skin. It's not comfortable. It might even hurt. You might have moments where you feel lost because the old you is gone and the new you is still emerging. But if you resist the urge to run back to what you've outgrown, you will find that this in-between space is where your deepest growth takes place. Courage during a universal shift also means saying yes to opportunities that scare you because they require you to expand. It means stepping into rooms where you feel unqualified and trusting that you are invited for a reason. It means trusting your inner wisdom even when others don't understand your decisions. Not everyone will see what you see or feel what you feel during a shift. Some people will try to convince you to go back to what's safe because they are projecting their own fears onto you. But you must guard your vision, Protect it like a seed. It doesn't need everyone's approval, it needs your commitment. Aligning with your higher calling also requires listening. This is not a passive listening, it is an active, intentional tuning in to the voice of God, the whispers of your spirit, and the signs unfolding around you. Too often, people miss their moment because they are too busy, too distracted, or too focused on the noise of the world to hear the guidance that's trying to reach them. In a universal shift, you cannot afford to be spiritually asleep. You must be awake, aware, and willing to follow divine direction, even when it interrupts your plans. Transformation during a universal shift is not an overnight event. It's a process. You might feel moments of exhilaration followed by moments of doubt. You might take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. That's normal. Growth is rarely linear. The key is to keep moving, to keep leaning into the change rather than resisting it. Every time you choose courage over fear, trust over control, and faith over doubt, you are aligning yourself more deeply with your higher purpose. And here's the truth. When you align with your higher calling, you also align with provision, protection, and divine timing. The resources you need, the connections you need, and the strength you need will begin to show up. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. The universe, or rather the creator of the universe, has a way of orchestrating events in your favor when you step into your assignment. Doors will open that you didn't even know existed. People will cross your path who carry exactly what you need for the next step, and challenges will come that strengthen you for the responsibilities ahead. But none of this can happen if you are clinging to what is no longer aligned. That's why releasing the old is so crucial. It is an act of faith that says, I believe what is coming is greater than what has been. It is choosing to trust that even in the letting go, you are not losing. You are making room for what is better, higher, and more aligned with your soul's purpose. This is the essence of transformation, not just changing your circumstances, but allowing the change to refine and elevate you from the inside out. When the universal shift moves, it is not just for the world, it is for you. And if you meet it with courage, trust, and a willingness to align with your higher calling, it will not just change your life, it will change you. And when you are changed, the way you show up in the world changes, and that, in turn, becomes part of the shift itself. You are not just a witness to the transformation, you are a participant in it, a vessel through which it unfolds. That is the power of stepping into your higher calling during a universal shift.